Okay, so I have actually started a class down at the VOTAC for auto body. Because I did all this work on the Courier. Now I did all the cutting out the rusty parts and welding in the new parts. I did all the filler work and sculpting and shaping the body and blocking it all out. And I did the priming and the painting and the striping. I made it all happen. But I know it wasn't done right. I mean, there is texture, there's orange peel, there's adhesion issues, there's all kinds of issues, things that would probably make a real body man cringe. And I want to learn how to do it right. I mean, who knows, this paint might all peel off in another year or two, I don't know. But let's see what happens. I think the doors came out pretty good, but I spent a hell of a lot of time getting them flat. I used a straight edge, I used long files, sanded everything by hand, blocked it out, I sculpted it. But like you come over here and there's a pretty huge low spot. I did the welding, grinding, slapped the Bondo under, hit it with DA, and that's all I did. I didn't block it out. And you can kind of see the low spot in there. You can see the orange peel. I mean, look at all that orange peel. Most of that is in the stripe itself, because for whatever reason that paint did not want to lay down. Get that. On the patchwork, you can see this, especially in the daylight. You can see all the filler work in there. I mean, I want to know how to do it right. I want to learn how to do things right. And we got problems. Okay, so this door definitely needs some help. You got that crease there. You got this damage here from it being hyperextended. You got the hinge itself. You can see it's bent from being hyperextended, and it's really rusty. You got that damage there from hitting the hinge right there. All that's fixable. You see the rubber is rock hard. That will not survive being removed. And that's what's going to really play a big part in the decision here. I mean, you got some heavy rust here, but the biggest problem, here. The bottom of it's completely rusted away. The outer skin has completely delaminated from the inside. So I would have to replace the outer skin. I would have to replace this section. I thought about just putting a bunch of panel bond in there, gluing it together. Small metal in the little rust holes and calling it good, but I don't think that's possible. I don't think this door, short of doing all that work, is savable. It's a little bit beyond me. So come over here and we have my OG 71 Cricket door off of that car. You can see the electric blue. That door has probably 350,000 miles on it. And my father was kind of an angry man. Sometimes he took it out on the door. Slamming the door, kicking the door open. He hyperextended it several times. And you've got cracks. There's a crack right there. On the outside here, there's a crack. There's actually another one that I welded. It went down a lot further. I think this is cracked out. Yeah, it can be fixed though. You can see he slammed it hard enough that this, of course, this rubber's rock hard, but it actually dented around it. And then wear, this hinge has been so torn, the metal was tore out, fatigue. I had to weld it up and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And then there's the damage inside. You can see that dent's still there. It's just full of filler. And up here you get think you can really see it very well, but there's a bunch of damage up in there. There's a lot of damage where the mirror was. So you got some cracking there. I mean, this door has got a lot of fatigue, but what it doesn't have is rust at all. So I believe we're going to make a go at this. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to hit it with the stripping wheel, and I'm going to take off all the filler that's on it. Because back in the day that I did this work, I was like 12, 13, didn't have sandpaper, so I used a nail to scratch up the surface to put Bondo on. Yeah. Remember what I was saying about cringy things we did when we were younger? It's just sitting on there right now. I completely forgot about the 72 latches being different. I'll change them. Hey, look at there. I don't think that's electric green. I think that's either aftermarket paint or rattle can stuff that I did. Anyway, so you have the damage here. That's from it being hyperextended and hitting the hinge. See? Now every one of my cars, that one, I was rolling it. I needed to roll it back about 4 feet. And I had the door open. I forgot about it, and it caught the awning at our old house and bent it out. Then it pissed me off because it was a perfect door. This one, oh my God! Look at it, just the tiniest little thing. Like, well, let's use this door, you know, because I really don't want to disturb the patina. I don't want to put a different colored door on it. I don't want to mess with it. Plus, all this stuff is shot too, and this is not available. Let's see. It's not too bad. Could be worse. Would have been nice to grab the door off the other car, the one I traded for the wagon, but yeah, that wouldn't have been a nice thing to do. Let's see, filler. So most of the filler is going to be all in here. This is where all the damage was. And a bunch right here where the mirror was. See this line here? It's kind of crisp right here. But then it almost disappears here, and then it does disappear back here. And it's about gone there. It's a pretty good crack. Okay, I'm gonna go grab a cord and my stripping wheel and get to work. Yeah, I was an idiot. Okay, so you can see here, this is the factory blue and the factory primer. This black, I'm not sure what the black is, whether it was done by me or done by Earl Shad. I think it was done by Earl Shad. This blue is the first rattle can paint job I ever put on it. And there's some orange. This is primer. That is orange paint, because I was going to paint this thing either orange or yellow. See, back in those days, the internet didn't exist. My dad had told me that this car was called a Hillman Avenger in England, but I didn't know anything about it. I'd never seen a picture of it. Didn't have any way to see a picture of it. And I bought a repair manual somewhere in the mid-90s, and in it showed a picture of a guy standing next to a Hillman Avenger Super with the square headlights and no side trim, nothing, just base model. It's like, wow, look at that. That looks cool, you know. It's different than my 4-headlight model. Yep, I didn't know the Tiger existed at all. Or I probably would have painted it yellow and made it look like a Tiger. But I like green, so that's why I went with the Oasis green. Yeah, I'll keep working on this. Now see, that is at least a 1/4 of an inch thick. Get a straight edge on that. Man. Let's see, get rid of that light. There we go. Look at that. Well, time to call it a night. You can see all this damage here. Pretty deep there and really deep here. These are the factory rivets that held the nut inserts for the factory mirror. There, I think there, maybe it was there, I don't know. Pretty bad though. Yeah. Well, I guess it's a good stopping place for tonight. The hole was so mangled and there was cracks, so many cracks here, that I just basically welded a washer in. Of course, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So that's coming back out. I've got a set of really rusty, really beat up doors that I was saving to use to build a wide body kit. I don't know what those kids are screaming about over there. But I won't need that piece. Maybe I'll just cut it here. I don't know. Probably cut it right along that edge right there. Done. Okay, here we are, Tuesday. It's after 4 o'clock. I spent 3 hours on the phone with the insurance company trying to get everything switched over from Washington State to Kansas. Plus, add Christy's new car to the policy. So the good news is we're sitting about $75 less a month. Plus, I added a car. Plus, I got full coverage on the courier. So great. But it's made me incredibly late. So one thing I had to do while I was thinking is this drill here. So this drill was given to me by my neighbor before he turned into a complete and total asshole. And these stripping wheels from 3M are great. But this thing has a very low RPM setting, 850 RPM. So yeah, it doesn't work real great. And I don't like using the DeWalt cordless. I don't want to burn it up. I don't want to burn up the batteries. You know, but I'm thinking, you know, the other day I bought some supplies, like a wire wheel and such. Anyway, I'd forgotten that I'd bought like a wire brush on, you know, the arbor. I can give that a try. But I bought that. I actually bought a new grinder too, because my old one, the cord is broken inside. I can fix it, but it's old enough and worn enough that it's probably about ready to die. Anyway, they usually burn the brushes out of them. You know, people say, well, why don't you buy a good one and it'll last you longer? I usually get 5-6 years out of these things being used quite a bit, and they're 30-40 bucks maybe. So no, I'm not going to spend 300 bucks on a good one when I can wear out a whole lot of those for 300 bucks. Anyway, so we got the stripping wheel on this. Not a 3M brand, it's Master Pro, you know, a Riley store brand. And I remember trying this once before, but if I remember correctly, it got hot, and these things just basically kind of melted down, and it didn't have any more abrasive on them. Plus, I had to take the guard off, and I am not a fan of doing that. But we're going to give that a try. Hopefully, with the wider area, it'll take that stuff off better, and then I can get back over here and get the paint off, get down here, because tomorrow night's the class. I still need to get this door completely stripped down, all the window, all the hardware and everything out of it. So I'm going to get started on this, and we'll see what happens. The wind is kind of crazy right now, so I got to set the tripod up real close to the door, and I got it down in the engine compartment just in case it does start to fall over. It won't fall all the way over and destroy my phone. So bear with us. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah! Oh yeah, I think it works great. Huh. Forgot to put my goggles on, just in case. I mean, a drill spinning 1500 RPM is one thing. This thing's spinning 12,000 RPM is another. The other thing I did notice is as I'm pushing on it, my hand's kind of slipping forward without a guard on there. Now, I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but if you look here, you can see this isn't so nice and shiny. Ooh, that's razor sharp. You know, you got all the nice clean metal there, but not so much over here. It's because it's melting the paint and smearing. It's still doing a good job of pulling stuff off, as you can see how it looks like it's kind of plugged up. That's what I was talking about, it melting this. It's still working though, so we're going to keep going. So I'm not going to get into all these little tight spots with this thing. I'll get into these with the drill, but I'll get all this done with this thing once I'm done getting the filler out. And God, there's a lot of filler. This heat is a problem. So I'm just skipping over it real quick to try to keep the heat from getting down. But I notice whenever I'm not even pushing very hard, like this spot right here turned into a pretty good sized dent. So I'm trying to get in there and get the filler out. But like over here, I was trying to get this, and then the whole panel is disappearing underneath the grinder because it's collapsing in the heat. Yeah, you can see this. It's just slipping. I don't know, maybe a wire brush will clean that up. I don't want to call it a complete failure, but I don't really want to call it a success either because of what it's doing. Now here, I don't know if you can see it in the camera angle, different colors of filler. You've got this yellow, this kind of pale yellow here. That tells me that I must have done this door again at my buddy's body shop, because all he would use is the Evercoat Rage Gold, supposedly the best stuff out there. He had like a big 5-gallon bucket of it mounted on the wall, and you flip this thing over and you know. But that must have been where I worked on it last. I don't know what all this green crap is. It must have been that brush painted chartreuse paint, and I figured, well, I'll just put a heavy coat of paint on it, then I'll sand it down, and it'll be like filler. Yeah, right. More like rubber. Well, we're gonna finish this up. It's not working anywhere near as well, and it's warping the panel, so I'm going to hit this with a wire brush and see if I can clean that out. I'll go ahead and finish this up, and then I'll be back. Okay, we got this all cleared off. Hopefully I didn't add any warpage to it. I mean, I can see all these dents, these old dents here that were fixed. I feel the low spot. That was pretty thick there though before. This spot right here, I don't know if I contributed to that or not. Right now I'm trying to get the paint out of here, and it's just clogging up the thing. This is one of the crappy ones, you know. But I don't want to use it until it's gone. It's just kind of smearing the paint. Horrible welds here. And this washer was welded in even more horribly than the rest of the stuff. So I think I might cut this out. I'll cut this out of the other door, or maybe I'll cut it all the way around. I don't know. I'll ask them tomorrow at the class. But right now, I didn't even remove any of the paint when I welded that washer on. I just painted welded right over the... got left to do is this little strip up here. I need to get in there carefully with this so I don't hurt the chrome. I'm going to go ahead and tape that off, I think. And then I'll start disassembling the door. Alright, it's late, it's getting dark. Tomorrow's going to be a decent day, and then we got a storm coming. So I didn't get much done in the last 2.5 hours. I did get the door stripped. I got it completely gutted. These windows are full of scratches and overspray. This one's got some kind of square scratched into it. Of course, the rubber is all crumbled away. I don't know what I'm going to do about that, because this door, the rubber is rock hard. I don't think it's going to come off of there without breaking apart. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But at least I can get the door straightened out. I do still need to come around this crack here on the back side and get this all stripped. I'll have to get it with a piece of sandpaper or something so I can weld that. And I'm going to need to get a tap, go through a couple of the bulb holes there. It's pretty dark. One of them doesn't have an insert on them anymore, but I have it, so that'll have to get fixed. But I am, when I go to the class tomorrow night, I'm going to take that door with me and then let the guy, the teacher, he's a body man. He actually works in the shop, 5 days a week. Ask him what he thinks. Should I try to patch the bottom of that door and fix the damage, or should I just stick with this one? If I end up keeping that door, I'm not going to take it apart. I'm going to leave that wing window in there as intact as I can, because they don't make the rubber fall anymore. But anyway, that's it for tonight. I'll be back out here tomorrow to finish this stuff up, and depending on what time I get done loading the truck, because I'm going to use the courier tomorrow. Whenever I get done with that, get everything tied down, then I'll jump back over on the spot welds and get back on that job. But that's it for the night. Bye. Okay, we're back on this today. So, what I was talking about here, some of these scratches, and you got these scratches here. If I remember correctly, this window had a bunch of, see more scratches. This window has a bunch of spatter in it. So I'll save it just in case something happens and I desperately need a window. Look at all that right there. It's all from, I think, welding that door handle and stuff in. Anyway, I'll save it. If a window gets broken, I need a window. Boom, there we go. But I don't want to use it. This one, all that rubber crumbled away, and it's got that square scratched into it for some odd reason. Yep. So this is basically junk. The stainless was dented. Yeah, see up there. Yeah. Yep, we'll go put them somewhere. I'm not going to throw them away just because they're rough. They're still usable. And then all this stuff needs to go in a box. And in the back of the bug is a set of doors. So these are those doors off of a car that I bought really cheap out of Oklahoma City years ago. Any hopes that I could possibly use the bottoms of them for patches is gone, because they're not really any better than the Phantom Mist door. And unfortunately, I grabbed it because I want to cut that door handle out. But unfortunately, this is the door I need, the one on the bottom. Lisa. So there's our piece. As you can see, it's pretty rough. And we've got little cracks in the corners, kind of typical. Lots of damage. Now to pull these door locks, normally what you would do is wrap a hose clamp around it. You'd put a hose clamp around the bottom here, which would squeeze all 4 of these at the same time. I don't have one. I'm too lazy to go look for one, so we're just going to kind of pick at it with a screwdriver and a pair of pliers and get it out of there without damaging it. And then I'm going to clean up these edges so they don't cut me. I'm going to open that gap up a little bit here, kind of straighten out that flange, and then we'll be done with that. Well, there it is. Kind of hammered on it a little bit, flattened it out, but you can see I got a little crack there. Got a little crack there. Maybe a crack there. I don't know. Let's see a crack there. It's just so flimsy, and I don't recall it being that bad, you know? Oh, and that was not original paint on the Aztec Gold that had been painted. The idea is cut this out. See, this one's had the welding done in the corners already. Welding there, welding here, welding there. Pretty much all the places this one's had. Looks like maybe even a crack there. Is that just a dent? Yeah. Some crack. Alright. A little more hammer dolly work maybe, and then I'll get it welded on there and then do it. If that's what we're gonna do. I don't know. I'll have to talk to the educator. See what he thinks. We'll go ahead and put the Aztec green door up there. Get all this stuff out of here. I mean, you obviously would not weld this thing on like that, but I can see us welding it from the bottom. It's a pretty decent sized washer. The idea was to weld that washer on and then drill it back out to put the lock in, but we never got that far. Things we do for rust-free metal. Well, yeah, there's no rust on it, but it's beat to hell. And I gotta clean up all this mess. Alright. So, I went ahead and started drilling these spot welds. And I really want to get the 2 halves done so I can make it 1 car again. But by the time I get done with all the door stuff, I went ahead and threw that door in that opening, so I didn't want to leave it without a door. I mean, all this stuff has to get done anyway. I still want to get the damn car put together, but there's just not enough time to really get into that before class, but I can work on this a little bit. I really don't like starting something and not finishing it. It kind of screws with my head, I guess, but I'll have this thing popped off here pretty quick, and then it'll be time to get ready for class. Okay, I'm burning down the last couple hours here doing these little projects that eventually need to be done, but not right away. So I was going to try to straighten this out. This corner isn't bad until you get to about there. I could probably straighten that out. I don't think I can straighten out underneath it. Maybe. Might be able to straighten this out. I could probably straighten that out. Maybe straighten that out. I might be able to straighten it out. But it will never be right. So what I was considering doing is cutting it and making it into like Nerf bar bumperette type of thing. I think one thing I need to do first is cut the bolt since I can't get it off. I don't know, maybe I will try to straighten it instead of cutting it. I suppose I can waste the time trying to straighten it out, and then if I can't do it, cut it. Yep, you see all the salt, what it's done back here. Chrome is just peeling off. Yeah, I'll do that first. You can see just how twisted this thing is, how bent up it is. You get about a 45-degree angle there, and pretty much a 90 here. Well, let's start pounding on it, see what happens. I had the top all straight, and then when I straightened it out bottom, now it's got the huge bow to it. It's because the bottom stretched. It didn't stretch here at the top edge, it stretched at the bottom edge, or you know, the inside edge. And it probably did at the top too, but I think if I cut a bunch of relief cuts, pie cuts, whatever you want to call them, I think if I cut those where it was bent really bad, I can get the bumper back to being straight and get the top half good, then I can just weld those cuts, and then this thing just gets spray painted silver or something, I don't know. We're gonna try it. Well, there it is. It looks like hammered shite. It looks a hell of a lot better than it did. Still got a bow to it. Looks like it's kind of bowed this way. I can still do a little bit of work to it right there. I think I'll leave it. Can't really tell what it's going to look like on the back of the car since the back of the car is so bad. Okay, it's time for me to get cleaned up, get the stuff put away, get ready for class. Well, it's about what I got done at school. And got it pulled. It's a little high. I need to grind off all the studs. I need to get the filler out of these little low spots so I can work on those next week. I'm gonna cut that section out when I'm all done. I got the crack welded, but it doesn't look very pretty. Where am I? There we are. So that's it for this episode. So this week on Strip Threads, we didn't get much done on the Cricket. I started an auto body class that happens on Wednesday night. So I needed to get the door prepped and get all the Bondo out of it because I didn't want to make a huge mess at class, and I didn't want to spend the whole class getting the filler out of the door. I wanted to actually work on it. So rather than working on spot welds and all that, I decided to get the door ready, and I had to choose which door I was going to use. The instructor agreed with me that this door was better to work with than the other door, even with its fatigue and its damage. But the other door had its own damage plus the rust. I could have made a patch for it, and I might someday, and we're going to save it. As a matter of fact, when the car's on the road, it's going to get put back together with all the Phantom Mist parts, and I'll just drive it around with patina, and I'll get all the other panels ready to go, pop them on, kind of like what I did with the Volvo just before I kind of lost interest in it. I'm not losing interest in the Cricket. That is not going to happen. So, not much progress with the car as a whole. The plan is, we'll keep working on this door. Once it's all cherried out and in primer, it'll get put away. I'll jump over onto the rear tailgate, the hatch. Same thing, get that thing, the rust cut out and patched, get the bodywork fixed, get all that rust in the window channel fixed, and then, once it's all cherried out, it'll get put away. Actually, it'll get put back on the car, because there's no reason not to have it on the car. And I need to have it on there so I can get the floor flat and get that back panel fixed. I need to look in at the class to see if there's metal brakes and shears and stuff like that. I don't think there is, so we'll see. It's not what I was expecting as far as the class goes. But I'm going to work. I'm going to drop this video tonight. You guys should be able to see it tonight, tomorrow, and we'll get started filming more for the next week. I've got this Cherokee here that I need to introduce. So we've got that. There's a couple other things going on, but we'll get back on it next week, I think. There's not much for me to do here. I can grind off those studs, but that's about it. Everything else I can do at class. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Like and subscribe if you like what you see, or don't. That's up to you. I appreciate all you guys that watch my videos. And you stay safe, and we'll catch you on the next one.